Chelsea's managerial shortlist is taking shape, with reports linking Iraola, Marco Silva, and Xabi Alonso. In this video, we'll break down how each of them fits the club, their pros and cons, and why this list might not make as much sense as it looks. We have a lot to break down, but before we dive into this video, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the tips. Help your boy get to that 10k subscriber mark. Let's dive into it. But moving on to the latest report on Chelsea managerial appointments. According to Matlaw, Andoni Iraola, Marco Silva, Xabi Alonso are among the managers Chelsea will make checks on as they work to identify a preferred candidate. The race for the next Chelsea manager is starting to take shape. According to multiple reports, these are the top candidates for the job at the bridge. And in this video, we'll break down their style of play, exactly how they suit our system, starting with Andoni Iraola. At 43, Iraola has solidified his reputation as one of the most innovative disruptor coaches in Europe. Coming out of the back school of management, the same stable that produced Mikel Arteta and Unai Emery, Iraola's brand of football is defined by one word: intensity. Iraola isn't interested in the death by 1,000 passes or a rigid positional control by Pep Guardiola. Instead, he embraces a system that forces his opponents into uncontrolled, frenetic phases of play. This is his signature. It's a zonal marking pressing system. Bournemouth currently rank as the most aggressive team in the Premier League for passes per defensive action. They don't just close you down, they hunt you, while other managers obsess over sideways possession to keep the shape. Iraola prioritizes vertical entry. He wants the ball moving forward immediately. He values ball carrying and aggressive dribbling over safe passing, constantly encouraging players to force the issue. He's a data-driven manager, but he ignores the total speed cover. Instead, he's obsessed with high speed running and sprint speed. If you can't maintain a high physical output for 90 minutes, you simply can't play in an Iraola team. Look at his trajectory. It's a masterclass in overachieving. Fernandez from 2019 to 2020 took a second division side to a historic Copa del Rey semi-final. Romano from 2020 to 2023 won promotion, reached another semi-final, secured consecutive mid-table finishes in La Liga on a shoestring budget. Bournemouth 2023 to 2026. This is where he became a household name. He transformed them from a relegation favourite into top half threats, finishing 12th and 9th. And as of April 2026, he's sitting 7th, knocking on the door of European football. For us at Chelsea, the big question is, does this heavy metal football actually suit a squad built on high cost and technical youth? Our current squad is young, hungry, and incredibly athletic. The perfect clay for Iraola to mold. Moses Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, these two are ball-winning monsters. Under Iraola, they wouldn't just be holding midfielders. They are the engine of hybrid press, jumping onto opposition playmakers to win the ball in dangerous area. If Nicholas Jackson stays, his work rate is among the highest in the league. Under Iraola, he becomes a defensive striker, much like Dominic Solanke was for him, leading the press from front and creating goals out of pure harassment. Iraola's system uses width to stretch the pitch, creating 1v1 isolation that players like Extova and Pedro Neto dream of. His preference for direct dribbling over rigid passing gives these chaos players the freedom to take on and drive into the box without being micromanaged. And then there is Kopama. While Kopama loves to dictate play, Iraola 4-2-3-1, which shifts to a 3-2-5-1 in possession, would put Palmer in the number 10 pockets to exploit the high turnover the system creates. We have to be honest, Iraola's system is risk-oriented. He's not afraid to leave centre-back in 1v1 situations to commit numbers forward. Ivakori and Wesley Fofana both are comfortable defending large spaces, which is a non-negotiable for Iraola. However, our tendency for defensive lapses would be a fire meets gasoline situation. We will score more, but we will almost certainly concede more in transition. It's a high-stake poker. But now let's talk about why he suits us. He has a proven history of taking raw talents and making them tactically elite. He understands the speed of English game. There's no adaptation needed. He builds a high cohesion squad. For a Chelsea team that sometimes feels like a collection of talented individuals, his pressing triggers would finally give us a collective identity. But now let's talk about the challenges. Success at Bournemouth is great, but the Stamford Bridge pressure cooker is a different beast entirely. Iraola's system can struggle against teams that sit deep and refuses to engage in chaos. Since many teams do exactly that against us, he would need to prove he can evolve his possession game. If the goal is for Chelsea to become the most fair transition team in Europe, Andoni Iraola is your man. He would move us away from possession for possession's sake towards a high IQ, high intensity game that represents on-site mentality aggressive, fearless and proactive. But moving on to the second name on the list, and that is Marco Silva. If Andoni Iraola is the chaos director, Marco Silva is the architect. While Iraola seeks to tear the game apart and win in transition, Silva's 2026 profile presents a more controlled, high-floor alternative for us at Chelsea. He isn't just looking for intensity, he's looking for fluid structure. At 48, Marco Silva has finally shed the boy wonder tag from his early days in Portugal. In 2026, he's respected as one of the Premier League most elite tactical minds. The perfect bridge between aggressive pressing and elite positional play. Silva's football isn't about frenetic running, it's about midfield security and wide rotation. Silva almost exclusively uses a double pivot in the midfield. This acts as a protective shield, allowing his team to shift into a 3-2-5 or a 2-3-5 in possession. It demands one fullback push high while the other tucks in to form a back three. But now let's talk about the wide rotation, because this is Silva's hallmark. It requires the winger, the fullback, the near eights to rotate positions constantly. This makes his team a nightmare to mark, because the markers never know who is occupying which zone. Unlike Iraola, who wants press for 90 minutes, Silva favors a mid to high block. He waits for specific triggers like a poor touch or back pass to engage. It's calculated, efficient, and it keeps his players fresh for the full season. But now let's zoom in his track record. At Sporting CP and Olympiacos, he proved he's a winner early on, lifting the Portuguese League and the Greek Super League. At Everton, at Watford, these are the learning years. He showed brilliance, but sometimes struggled with defensive transition and squad depth. At Fulham, he took a yo-yo club and turned them into a stable Premier League force. By April 2026, he has them comfortably in the top half, with a reputation of being a giant killer of the Big Six. For Chelsea, Marco Silva offers a safe hand approach with a massive tactical ceiling. He's a director who values aesthetics, beautiful football, but refuses to compromise on defensive responsibility. Marco Silva is a playground for free-roaming creators. At Fulham, Silva gave Pereira total freedom to dictate play. At Chelsea, Kopama will take that role to a world-class level. Silva loves wingers who can drift into half spaces while fullbacks overlap. This is the perfect setup for Extova and Pedro Neto, allowing them to cut inside, combine with Palmer and unleash shots while the width is maintained by fullbacks. We all have seen the massive gap in our midfield lane. Marco Silva's insistence on a structured midfield engine would bring balance to our record-breaking pivots. Instead of Caicedo trying to cover the pitch alone, Silva will pair him with Enzo or Romeo Lavia in a way that ensures one player stays home to protect the centre-back. Critics call his football cross and Ishala, but the data shows he uses crosses as a tactical tool to win second balls. With the physical presence of Joao Pedro, Nicolas Jackson, or even Liam Delap, Marco Silva's ability to engineer high-quality wide delivery gives us plan B we have lacked for years. Let's talk about why he suits us. 1. Tactical versatility. He's more adaptable than most. He can play a low block masterclass against City, then switch to expansive, dominant game against a packed box. 2. Stability. Marco Silva provides a high floor. His teams are organized and rarely get blown away. They are always in the fight. 3. Set-piece mastery. Silva's team consistently rank in the top 5 for set-piece goals, for a Chelsea side that struggle in the air. This is a massive hidden advantage. But now let's talk about the challenges. And the big question is, can he manage the massive egos and the must-win every game pressure at the bridge? And 2. The Jorge Mendes factor. Silva is a client of Jorge Mendes, who has deep ties to Chelsea board. And while this could help move things quickly, we have to hope he's hired on pure merit, not just because of the agent connection. If Iraola is a chaos director, Silva is the architect. He would bring a level of structural maturity we haven't seen since the early Tuchel days. He offers a sustainable path to top 4 by fixing our defensive transition and providing a clear framework for our young stars to shine. As we close out on this managerial shortlist, we arrive to the name that carries the most weight in 2026. After his historic invincible Bundesliga run with Bayer Leverkusen and a high-stake tenure at Bernabeu, Xabi Alonso has become the ultimate prize. For us at Chelsea, this isn't just a candidate, it's a mechanical key to unlocking this billion-pound squad. By April 2026, Xabi Alonso has transformed from a tactical prodigy to a proven winner under the highest pressure. Following his legendary 2024 double with Leverkusen, his time at Real Madrid showed he could manage the world's biggest stars while maintaining the rigid tactical discipline. Though he recently left Real Madrid by mutual consent, His stock remains at all-time high as the architect of modern dominance. Alonso's system is a masterclass in geometric positioning. He combines suffocating possession of Pep Guardiola with the ruthless, lightning-fast transition of Jurgen Klopp. The 3-4-2-1 structure, this is his bread and butter. In possession, it shifts seamlessly into a 3-2-5, pinning the opposition deep into their box and creating a wall which is nearly impossible to play through. It demands two world-class midfielders who can dictate the game's tempo. One stays deep as the orchestrator, while the other acts as the mobile engine. Alonso treats his wing-back as primarily playmakers. Look at how he transferred Gremado and Frimpong in his system. They weren't just defenders, they are auxiliary terms, which rack up double digits goal and assists. Instead of traditional wingers who hug the touchline, he favors two creative attacking midfielders operating in half spaces. This creates a central overload that breaks the brain of every defense in the league. For us at Chelsea, Alonso is the perfect mechanical fit. He doesn't need new players, he just needs the key to the ones we already have. In this 3-2-4-1, the wing-back is a high-volume attacker, with James' elite crossing and Gusto's recovery pace mirrors the Frimpong dynamic perfectly. On the left, Alonso utilized a hybrid player who can tuck in as a third centre-back during the build-up phase or push high to overlap, creating the tactical flexibility we haven't seen in years. As a legendary midfielder himself, Alonso's system is designed to empower the pivots. Moses Caicedo becomes the granite shaker of the team, the defensive security blanket, who cleans up everything, allowing his partner to roam and create. Enzo Fernandez, this is where the magic happens. Under Alonso, Enzo would flourish as a deep-lying playmaker. The structured positioning will reduce the empty space Enzo has to defend, allowing him to focus on his 90% plus passing accuracy in the final third. Now imagine Cole Palmer and Nextova both operating in half spaces behind a striker. Alonso's system creates overload in the center, meaning our two most creative players would constantly find themselves in 1v1 situation against isolated center-back. It's a cheat code for elite creators. But now let's talk about why he suits us. And the first is tactical identity. We have lacked a fixed way of playing for years. Alonso brings a blueprint that is mathematically proven to dominate the league. 2. High IQ coaching. He's a player's coach who explains the why behind every movement. For a young, impressionable squad, his guidance is good. And the last one, and perhaps the most important, the winner factor. He brings an immediate big club aura. When Alonso walks into Cobham, the standard raise instantly. But we can't talk about all this without talking about the challenge. After a tumultuous end at Real Madrid, involving clashes with senior players, Chelsea need to ensure the vibes are right from day one. And secondly, the competition. Every club in Europe wants him, convincing him that the Chelsea project is more stable than Liverpool, or a return to Germany is the board's biggest task. Alonso is an elite coach who could finally turn Chelsea's collection of expensive individuals into a dominant machine. His 3-4-2-1 system provides a structure Enzo and Caicedo needs, while giving Palmer and Nextova the platform to win the Ballon d'Or. If we want to return to the summit, Alonso is the only candidate who provides tactical protection and a winning DNA. But here's my verdict. After cycling through Enzo Maresca and then the Liam Rossino experiment, you would think Paul Stanley and Lawrence Stewart would have figured out what they want this team to be. Instead, we are looking at three managers who couldn't even agree on how to set a training code. When you look at these three names together, you realize the directors aren't searching for a star, they are searching for a shield. Andoni Iraola is a chaos director. He wants us to be the most annoying team in Europe, pressing high, forcing turnovers, and sprinting until our lungs gives out. Marco Silva is a symmetric architect. He wants a disciplined mid-block and a calculated wide rotation. Xabi Alonso is a positional mastermind. He wants 65% possession and a rigid 3-4-2-1 structure that pins teams back. The most damning part, they have spent 1.5 billion building a squad of technical wonders. If you hire Iraola, you are asking Enzo Fernandez to play like a track star. If you hire Alonso, you are asking our natural wingers to forget the touchline and move inside. If you hire Silva, you are basically admitting the elite project is dead. And we are just happy to be organized. To have these three names on the list proves that the recruitment at Chelsea isn't joined up. It's a dartboard. We aren't picking a manager to fit a philosophy. We are picking a manager based on who is currently trending. It shows that while we have test makers and directors on the pitch, we have a bunch of amateurs in the boardroom who don't know the difference between a high press and a high-end fashion show. If the goal is to find a preferred candidate, All they have done is to find 3 ways to fail different. And with that said, that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You go be.